Dust and silence. The colony of Dustwell wasn't much to look at, just a scattering of domed habitats and solar towers half buried in fine orange sand, endlessly whipped by lithium-charged winds. The locals joked that the real rulers of Epsilon Eridani IV were the dust devils, not the humans. The atmosphere was too thin to breathe without gear, and the nearest real city, on Epsilon Eridani II, was a 7-day hop away on a good trade route. On a bad day, it was forgotten entirely. And lately, there had been a lot of bad days. Alara Voss stood on the main platform overlooking the settlement, a rebreather mask clamped to her face and a data pad in hand. Her once sleek uniform was stained with copper-colored grit. She didn't mind. It helped her blend in better with the miners, engineers, and cargo techs who kept the colony alive on little more than recycled water and stubbornness. A soft chime echoed in her helmet. Incoming long-range transmission. Not the scheduled Earth check-in. Not a trading vessel. Something else. She tapped the console. Nat's voice buzzed to life in her earpiece. We've got an unidentified inbound on high-velocity approach. No IFF. No comms. It's big, boss. Real big. Alara's brow furrowed. Military. If it's not, I'll reprogram myself into a toaster. Profile matches Xarn Dominion war class. Cruising in hot. She didn't swear. Not out loud. Not yet. Instead, she turned to the comms tower. All hands, report to shelter stations. This is not a drill. Emergency protocol. Iron Dust is now active. Inside the colony command center, under the central dome, Alara and Nat examined the telemetry feed. The vessel was massive, sleek, black, and bristling with weapon mounts. A Xarn Dominion cruiser, without question. No diplomatic flags. No hails. Just a message, dropped directly into Dustwell's encrypted channel, as if mocking them. You will surrender all colony resources and evacuate within one planetary rotation. Resistance will result in extermination. This is the only warning. Dr. Miles Chun entered, pale and wide-eyed. Did they just bypass EarthNet security? Walk through it like it wasn't there, Alara muttered. Nat added, I'm scrubbing their probe traces, but they left a mark. They know we're unarmed. They think this is going to be easy. And why wouldn't they? Dustwell had no active defense satellites. No station marines. No orbital guns. Not even a functioning shuttle fleet. Just a pair of broken haulers and a mining skiff with a cracked fuel core. From the outside, they were prey. Alara paced the room, chewing the inside of her cheek. They're not after us. They want the plasma crystal seams. There's a war brewing on the outer rim. That stuff powers their hyperdrives. We're a pit stop. A resource depot. Chin spoke quietly. We could evacuate. Hide in the ravines. Maybe a few hundred survive. No, Alara said, voice hardening. You know what the Xarn do. Surrender means dissection. Interrogation. Occupation. Slavery if we're lucky. Nat hummed. So, surrender is off the table. Defense is non-existent. I suppose diplomacy is. Not their language, Alara cut in. Silence fell. The only sound was the whirring of old fans, struggling against the dust. Then Alara turned, eyes sharp. We might not have weapons, but we do have tricks. Nat's core flared blue. Are you proposing deception? I'm proposing warfare, she replied. The humankind. Improvised. Asymmetric. Psychological. She turned to Dr. Chun. How many holographic emitters do we have left from the mining rigs? Maybe 20. Some are glitchy. Can you project full-scale ship illusions? Chun hesitated, then nodded slowly. With the right coding? I think I can make them believe Earth sent a fleet. Alara smiled, tight, grim, fierce. Good. We're going to stage the most convincing military presence this galaxy has never seen. By nightfall, the colony had shifted from despair to organized chaos. Engineers ripped apart old drill rigs for wiring and energy coils. Mechanics rewired drones into signal spoofers. Nat fed 1,000 fake comm signatures into the planet's low-orbit array, mimicking Earth fleet protocols. Even the children helped, loading decoys and laying out reflective panels across the surface. They had one day. Alara stood at the heart of the operation, issuing orders and coordinating chaos with a veteran's calm. She'd once been a systems analyst for the Terran Defense Force, before she gave it all up, tired of war, of lies, of blood on starships. She'd come here to bury her past. But now, it looked like the war had come to her. And this time, she didn't need weapons to fight back. Just the right illusion. And 7 minutes of brilliance. Improvisation protocol. Dustwell's command center had never seen this much activity. For a colony known for silence and slow days, it now throbbed with the kind of desperate energy found only in war zones or collapsing stars. The Xarn warship loomed in orbit, its silhouette blocking out half the stars in the northern sky. It didn't fire. It didn't communicate again. It waited, calmly, arrogantly, confident its threat had already done the job. That was their mistake. Pull the fusion cores out of the southern drills, Ilera ordered. They'll power the emitter grid. Rico, one of the lead engineers, scratched his bald head. Ma'am, those are our last 2 operational cores. We'll lose power to half the colony. We'll lose everything if that cruiser decides to open fire. Black out the domes. Redirect every what to the projectors. Do it. He didn't argue again. Inside a dusty repair bay, Dr. Chun hunched over a half-disassembled emitter unit, sweat trickling down his face. These weren't made for full-scale space illusions, he muttered, voice tight with stress. They're designed to simulate terrain shifts for miners, fake cliffs, or deposits. Not battleships. Adapt, Ilera said, kneeling beside him. You told me once you made a rhino chase its own hologram off a cliff. That was a small rhino. You got 12 hours. Chin groaned. I'll need a drone array to stabilize projection angles. Done. Nat's coordinating the old courier drones. As if on cue, the AI's voice buzzed in. 6 drones are flight-worthy. 2 are currently being duct-taped together by Rico. 1 insists it's a toaster. Ilera chuckled despite herself. 7 out of 8. Not bad. By mid-cycle, the colony had transformed. From orbit, the planet now shimmered with false energy signatures. Nat had loop transmission bursts into the ionosphere, tricking passive scans into detecting massing capital ships. Chin's emitters began projecting glimmers of shadowy hulls, just out of clear visual range, as if hiding behind atmospheric glare. A clever misdirect. Down below, they embedded old mining lasers into the dust, fitted with crystal prisms to mimic the glow of plasma turrets. To Xarn sensors, the terrain now screamed armed installation. But Ilera knew that appearances would only last so long. The Xarn weren't stupid. She needed layers, enough lies stacked together that the aliens couldn't tell truth from trap. Nat, simulate long-range communications with an Earth dreadnought. Using what fairy dust? We don't have interstellar bandwidth. Fake the bandwidth. Slice together old Earth fleet command signals. Give them call signs, Titan Group, Omega Formation, whatever sounds intimidating. I want the Xarn to think we're coordinating a fleet strike. Audio theater. My specialty. At sunset, the colony gathered in the central dome. Ilera stood atop a cargo crate, lit by a hanging lamp, dust swirling around her. You all know what we're facing, she said, voice amplified. And you all know the truth. We have no fleet, no missiles, no defense grid, silence. But we have us. Miners, engineers, medics, thinkers, humans. The kind who turn broken things into weapons, who turn impossible odds into survival stories. She looked around at them, dust-caked faces, tired eyes, calloused hands. We don't need to win a war. We just need them to believe they already lost it. The crowd stirred, heads lifted. We hit them with fear, with confusion, with shadows. They want to fight? Let's give them a ghost fleet. As night deepened, Nat activated the final sequence. Across the sky, dozens of ghostly Earth ships shimmered into view, faint outlines suspended in the upper atmosphere. Destroyers, carriers, even a Titan-class dreadnought, all glowing faintly blue. They flickered and pulsed like real vessels sinking calms. The illusion was near perfect. From orbit, the Xarn would detect signatures of at least 12 warships, each broadcasting combat readiness protocols. They would see lights, movement, static discharges, heat plumes, and perhaps more importantly, they'd hear chatter. Thanks to Nat's sliced transmissions, a torrent of coded military signals now buzzed through space, full of jargon, threat assessments, even fake countdowns. In the command center, Elara watched the Xarn ship shift slightly in orbit. Their scans were active, searching, probing. They're scanning deep, Nat warned. They're suspicious. Good. That means it's working, she replied. Dr. Chen looked nervous. If they fire on one of the decoys, we won't give them time. We bluff big, or we die small. Outside, the storm began. The colony kicked up an engineered dust cyclone, laced with electrified lithium particulates. Every pass of wind charged the atmosphere with interference, further clouding Xarn's sensors. And still, the illusions danced. 7 minutes was all they'd need. Just 7 minutes to make an empire think twice. The 7-minute war. From the command center, the alien warship looked like a silent god hanging in the sky, gleaming black, coiled with potential energy, ready to strike. Its curved hull radiated menace, and every now and then, a ripple of heat shimmered from its plasma banks, as if the ship were exhaling. And then it moved. Alara's pulse jumped. We've got motion. Nat confirmed. They're repositioning. Ventral side turning, likely preparing a low-orbit firing solution. Target, Central Colony. Elara didn't blink. Initiate Phase 1. Light them up. Minute 1. A storm of energy burst from the colony's surface. Controlled arcs of artificial lightning coursed through the ionized dust in the upper atmosphere. Dozens of heat signatures blossomed across Xarn's sensors. The illusion grid activated, and ghostly silhouettes of Terran dreadnoughts shimmered into full form. To Xarn eyes, 12 massive warships had just decloaked above the planet, appearing in classic Terran battle formation. Shield front, missile cruisers flanking, dreadnoughts anchored in the rear. They're scanning like mad, Nat reported. Weapons charging, but not locked. They don't know what's real yet. They better not find out, Elara muttered. Minute 2. Dr. Chen initiated his holographic emitter pulses. The false ships began moving, not just glowing. Micro-drone reflectors shifted positions with uncanny coordination, mimicking engine flares and orbital drift. Meanwhile, audio signals flooded the spectrum. Encrypted command exchanges, fleet maneuvers, target prioritizations. Commander Strake, you are go for gridlock formation. Omega Group, focus fire on ventral core. EMP warheads primed. Ground command, confirm visual lock. Launch T3 sequence. All fake. All terrifying. Minute 3. The colony's dust storm erupted into a full-blown tempest. Charged lithium sand, lifted by thermal vents, surged upward, forming glowing tendrils of static interference. It masked the surface entirely from visual and thermal scans. At the same moment, 4 emitter towers activated at once, projecting the illusion of plasma artillery embedded in the cliffs. Beams of bright red cannon fire lanced toward the sky. They couldn't hurt the Xarn, but to a frightened crew on edge, they looked very real. They just flinched, Nat said. Movement pattern erratic. Shield flare suggests they thought we scored a hit. Minute 4. From the fake dreadnoughts, above, projected torpedoes launched, quick pulses of light and heat mimicked by reprogrammed maintenance drones. They streaked through the sky in formation, diving toward the cruiser. The Xarn ship reacted instantly. Shield bubbles expanded, countermeasures launched. They're defending against ghosts, Chen whispered in awe. Elara allowed herself a small smile. Then we've got them. Minute 5. Nat unleashed the final part of the digital deception. A full-scale broadcast on open channels in Xarn dialect, using spliced recordings from a captured alien drone years ago. This territory is under Terran military lockdown. Further aggression will be met with preemptive orbital sterilization. You have violated Directive 13-4. Surrender or be neutralized. A pause. Then the illusion fleet moved forward as if closing the trap. Minute 6. The Xarn ship powered up weapons, but not to fire. Their signal scrubbers activated. Their own communication channels went dark. They weren't counterattacking. They were panicking. That confirmed the shift. They're preparing a tactical withdrawal, folding in weapon systems, shifting orbit to slingshot trajectory. They're running, Chun said, astonished. They think they're outgunned, Alara replied. They don't want to start a war with Earth's hidden fleet. We just made them believe they stepped into a Terran ambush. Minute 7. Without firing a single real shot, the Xarn ship disengaged, engines roaring to full burn. It jettisoned 2 drones, likely intended to record or verify the false fleet, and then vanished behind the system's outer moon, disappearing into hyperspace moments later. Dustwell's sky fell silent. No more scanner pings. No more heat blooms. The Predator had fled. In the command dome, the silence was heavier than the tension had been. Then Nat's voice broke it. Total engagement time, 7 minutes, 12 seconds. Result, Xarn Dominion retreat. Casualties, 0. Ammo used, none. Victory status, glorious. Alara sat down slowly, exhaling for what felt like the first time in hours. Her hands trembled just a little. Dr. Chun looked at her. That's it? We actually did it. We didn't win a battle, Alara said. We won a mind. She looked up at the ghost fleet still shimmering above, already beginning to fade. And that's how you beat giants when all you've got is dust and brains. The ghost colony. It didn't take long for the galaxy to notice. By the time the Xarn Dominion filed its official report, cautiously phrased, thick with diplomatic hedging, the story had already broken loose on every Terran Comnet and interstellar forum. A secret Earth fleet had ambushed a Xarn warcruiser over a backwater mining colony. 12 dreadnoughts, dozens of orbital turrets, and most damning of all, no survivors taken, no retaliation attempted. The message was clear. Earth had teeth, and they were hidden in the most unlikely places. Dustwell, once dismissed as a dusty speck orbiting an irrelevant sun, was now being treated like a military outpost of strategic importance. Earth's Department of Colonial Affairs sent an inquiry drone, then a recon skiff, then an encrypted message that simply read, "Was that you?" Alara didn't respond. She didn't need to. Inside the central dome, now reinforced with additional solar shielding and patched wiring, the colonists sat around a communal table made from repurposed mining struts. They were tired, still covered in grit, and drinking from shared mugs of lukewarm stimulant brew. But they were alive, every one of them. Alara leaned against the wall, watching the quiet celebration. Laughter had returned. It was subtle, restrained, but real. Dr. Chun passed her a mug. I haven't slept in 3 days, and I think my spinal cord is vibrating. But we did it. She took the mug. You did it. You all did. Nat's voice buzzed through a wall speaker. Correction, we did it. Victory percentage was enhanced 32% by my masterful impersonation of Terran Command Authority. I would like a medal. Or a sandwich. Medal it is, Alara replied. You just burned the sandwich again. That was one time. Over the next few days, Dustwell changed. Not physically. There was no sudden surge of supply drops or military support. But the way others looked at it had shifted. Other colonies began calling for advice. A fringe colony on Arcturus Prime asked for the schematics to the hologram fleet. A mining settlement on Proxima Centauri offered to trade real shielding tech in exchange for Nat's counterfeit signal templates. They weren't asking for soldiers. They were asking for ideas, for help. 2 weeks later, the Terran ambassador to the Galactic Council gave a speech. Humanity does not provoke war, but we will not be prey. Dustwell is proof that our spirit, the same spirit that settled the void, crossed the black, and endured every trial the stars threw at us, remains unbroken. You will find no easy conquests among our kind. Alara watched that speech from her quarters, the projector flickering as the ambassador gestured like a practiced showman. She sipped her coffee, recycled steam water, and powdered stimulant, and let the words wash over her. Dustwell wasn't a symbol of might. It was a symbol of imagination, and sometimes that was even more dangerous. A week after the speech, Dustwell received a message on an encrypted Xarn frequency. We underestimated you. It will not happen again. Nat analyzed the transmission 6 times, checking for hidden threats or malicious code. Translation: they're scared and pissed. Let them be, Alaris said. Fear is a useful thing. You know this puts a target on us, right? I'm counting on it. In the following months, Dustwell remained untouched. No pirate raids, no territorial skirmishes. Even trade ships began giving it a wider berth, just in case the legends were true. Rumors swirled. Some said Dustwell housed an experimental AI fleet capable of blinking in and out of existence. Others believed Earth had deployed secret black ops soldiers in cloaked armor suits to defend the colony. A few swore the entire attack had been staged as a warning to rival empires. None of it was true, and Alara made sure to never deny any of it. Because in the cold politics of the galaxy, sometimes myth was stronger than fact. Chun eventually returned to his experiments, now with actual funding sent quietly by Earth fleet observers. Rico got a new fusion core and patched up the skiff. The children played again in the filtered sunlight, racing homemade hoverboards through dust tunnels and pretending to shoot down alien invaders with sticks. Dustwell thrived, without firing a shot, without losing a soul, without ever being seen for what it truly was, a bluff so bold and brilliant that it stopped a warship in its tracks. One evening, as the lithium winds howled across the ridgelines and the fake dreadnoughts long since deactivated, Alaris sat outside with Nat's emitter perched beside her. She looked up at the stars. The Xarn ship had come from somewhere out there, confident, entitled, ruthless, and in 7 minutes it had turned tail. Do you ever miss Earth? Nat asked softly. Alara shook her head. No, Earth's crowded, loud. Here, we built something different. We survived. We lied. We survived by lying, she said. That's how humans win. Not because we're stronger. Because we're impossible to predict. That sounds like a threat. It's a warning, Alara replied, standing up and brushing dust from her sleeves. Let the galaxy wonder. She turned toward the colony, lights glowing warm in the dusk. Let them all wonder what monsters we might be.